So the topic for today is a parenting topic, and it's an interesting one because it's all about how to get your kids to sleep well, sleep throughout the night, and also get into a good sleep routine. We all love our sleep, and children look beautiful when they're sleeping for the simple reason that we get a lot of time for ourselves. But yes, so I thought we could cover a little bit on this topic. Number one, sleep time has to be the same time every single day. Yes. I know it's a little difficult to sort of upkeep on, the sleep time routine, especially when it has to be done at the same time every single day. But it's wonderful because works in two ways. Okay, and I'll explain this to you guys. First thing is that children love routine. As much as we say things like give them freedom, let them enjoy themselves, when it comes to day-to-day activities, children love routine. They should know what they want to do and what they have to sort of do, especially when you're looking at kids from a sort of birth to about at least 10 years. So I found this really useful in terms of, sticking to one time every single day. It could be any time you choose. It could be 7:30, 8, 8:30. Our typical times are at 8:30. We begin at about 8:30 and sort of settle down by 8:45, 9. It's amazing because the other reason, not just that kids love routine, the other reason is that the biological clock helps them to sort of set themselves every single day. So they kind of know, the body knows that okay, it's time to go to sleep and it's bedtime. What is tip number two? Tip number two is creating an environment to go to sleep. Have you seen what nature typically does, right? In the mornings, the sun rises, your birds are chirping, they're busy, there's a lot of activity in nature. They're collecting food, animals are going about their sort of day-to-day activities and tasks and things like that. And by about 5:36 or whenever the time is, for sunset, everything sort of falls, peaceful, quiet, silent, all of that stuff. So, follow nature, follow the way nature sort of patterns the day is what we need to incorporate in our day as well. I've seen a lot of households where, when it's time to sort of go to bed, the typical, thing that people do is just do the opposite of what we are supposed to do, which is, I'm sorry, TV is loud, there's a lot of noise in the evenings, and there's a lot of activity happening. And generally, kids, rather than, getting into a quieter, calmer tone, they are also becoming more active. So, creating an environment for them to go to sleep really, really helps. Lights can be dimmer at home. Everybody sort of peacefully goes about their chores so that you kind of, the kids also sense that it's sort of time to go to bed and their bodies are also calmer. That really helps because a lot of activity, it doesn't, that sort of, makes their minds restless and they are not in that sleep mode when they have to. Which brings me to tip number 3. So tip number 3 is about no gadgets, no mobile phones, no electronics, and basically low on activity levels in the night. I know you're all aware of this, but I would want to reiterate this fact. The rule in our house is that typically by about 8 o'clock, everybody is reading a book. the rule in our house. I love reading. My husband loves reading. My older daughter, who is 8 years, she loves reading as well. And the younger one is sort of yet coming around with reading. So what she does is either we read to her, or that she takes a book and is either sort of drawing, coloring, or just sort of narrating her own interpretation of the story, and one of us is sort of working with her on that.
The crisp new snow is just right for building a snowman. Ben gives his snowman some eyes and adds a mouth, a big smile.
This rule I implemented about 6-8 months back. So it wasn't a rule till then, but now it's a rule. And I've really found a lot of difference. One, it's exposing them to books. So, every day is a new book. Every day is what should I read? And the excitement of choosing the book. So good reading habits there. And secondly, it just helps the entire house calm down, because reading is you're doing it to yourself, and there is no really noise, loud activity happening at home, and the kids are sort of settling into bed, so they read on their beds, and they kind of enjoy doing that. And this has really helped us. So yeah, tip number 3 is let's incorporate a little reading in, or bedtime reading just about before you are going to sleep. Okay, so tip number 4 is about afternoon nap times, and this is typically for toddlers and kids, usually by till about the age of 6, I would say, or 5. Now I've noticed one thing with parents is that their afternoon nap times are slightly longer than they need to be. So for younger kids, when we're saying the age of 0 to about 2.5, 3 years, a good 2.5 hours of sleep in the afternoon is good. They need it, right? But older kids don't really need so much of afternoon nap time. Now, I have seen typical parents either prolonging the afternoon nap times to about 3.5 hours, or putting them to sleep at about 4:30, 5 in the evening for an hour, and then they sort of the kids don't sort of sleep early in the night. So this is an important thing to really look into, is give them enough and sufficient nap time. This is going to help you set that night routine, because if you're going to have a longish afternoon nap time or a late nap time in the afternoon, it's really not going to help them, especially sleep early in the night, and that will sort of prolong your night as well. So try and reduce the afternoon nap times. So that's tip number 4. And final tip number 5, and this is something I've seen with the kids, is bring in a comforter. What is a comforter? It could be a blanket, it could be a little soft toy. My kids like soft toys. They have 2 little penguins that they sleep with. But a comforter is sort of bringing in a little bit of security, bringing in that warmth when they're going to sleep. And also in terms of, if your kids are sleeping alone and not with you, then this is sort of a friendly little soft toy or a pet that they have, that they can cuddle in with to go to sleep. So comforters really help. The other comforting thing for them, and again, children love routine. So another thing that you could do is say a prayer, or sing a lullaby, or sort of play music. I would suggest do it manually. Sing it for them. Sing the same sort of song every single night, because that helps them to sort of get into that, okay, I am going to bed and mom stuck me in and she's going to sing a little song for me. This could be anything. It could be a 4-line prayer, it could be I sometimes sing my school prayer if I don't get anything else. So yeah, everybody has a prayer or a song that we know. Sing it to them. It's very comforting, very soothing, and helps to sort of go back to go to sleep early and go to sleep quickly rather than early. So yeah, these are my sort of top 5 tips. Some of the bonus tips that I'd like to share with you guys. It could be, especially when you're setting in the creating that environment, going to sleep. A warm bath helps because that sort of, again, soothes the body down. You're doing everything for them to sort of go to sleep. So a warm bath. What else? A glass of or a cup of warm milk, again, sort of fills the stomach. If you're okay with giving milk in the night, a cup of warm milk, or and sort of brush your teeth and then go to sleep. So all of these things help them sort of get into a routine. If you've noticed, there are 2 very important things that have popped out of my 5-6 tips that we've discussed, which is 1, soothe them, calm them down when they go to sleep, and 2, routine. I'm going to repeat this again and again, but as parents, I think we really need to set that routine for them. That tone, their biological clock needs to be set to go to sleep, and this can be done from for all kinds of kids, all age groups. Sorry, this could be from like 0 years to as long as you're 10, 12. This routine habit sets the tone even for their future habits, right? So this is a sort of discipline that you're setting in to your house. And how can I do that with kids who are like a few months old? Of course you can do it. We used to do it. And me and my husband were very particular about this thing, where the day used to be a noisy sort of regular day with your blinds open, people are going about their regular work, and a really small kid, an infant, and especially my kids when they were younger, would sort of see this. They would sense it. They would see everybody hustle, bustle, and all of that kind of stuff. And as it would be evening, we would get down to doing the things that we discussed earlier, which is, making the rooms calmer and sort of, putting on the blinds, and then now telling them that it's night, it's time to go to bed. And trust me, it is going to help you, especially, help the baby sleep through the night, or at least for longer durations. So yes, these are some of the tips that I think they're useful. Another thing that I'd like to leave you with is setting the routine. And why is that important is because if you are right now in that stage where it's slightly haphazard, try and introduce these tips that we've discussed 1 week at a time. So the initial first week, you can set a time, a specific time. Say, I'm going to put my kids to sleep at 8:30, and you're going to start making the preparations by 7:45 or 8, however long you take to sort of put them to sleep. So by 8:30, they have to be tucked in bed. So take these tips 1 week at a time. Don't try and introduce everything all together. That is again going to create a little bit of a chaos. So 1 step at a time. And also I'd like to sound you people off in terms of this could take a little longer initially, because you're setting a routine, and every routine takes its own time. So it could be that your kids are sort of not getting into the routine for about a week, but when you do repetition with them, it will happen. And believe me, I've tried it. It probably will take a week, or about 8-10 days. 10 days would be longer. It's about a week before the kids sort of settle into that routine that you're trying to set into, but it will happen. So try and take these tips, implement them 1 week at a time, and hopefully we should get a good night's sleep. That'll allow you to get some time for yourself as well. You could read, you could finish your night chores, you could just relax yourself, and kids are also happy. They say early to bed, early to rise, and that's not for nothing. Yeah. So let me know how this video was. It's a little chatty for the first one. I will try and make it a little more interesting, or with a lot of visuals and things like that. But yes, for the first one, a little chatty, but I hope you liked it, and we'll see you more often. Like my younger one, or my daughter says, subscribe to my channel. Please comment below on what you would like to see or hear from me in the future episodes, and give it a thumbs up if you like it, share the video, and see you next week. Bye bye.